I went to public schools at a time where community control just became part of it. Think about it in the early 70s, right? And we all had to get up and do what I call the Pledge of Allegiance. We all know the Pledge of Allegiance. Well, where I grew up, it was a big basis for the Black Power movement too. So we wouldn't just sing Star Spangled Banner, we would also sing Lift Every Voice and Sing. So I grew up in the public schools thinking everybody sang Lift Every Voice and Sing, which I still know to this day, which is so beautiful. And then I realized that was all about community control, and particularly for the Black community, saying, this is how we define ourselves, this is how we love ourselves, we need to sing this song. And you don't see that today. What I love is I learned early through my family that you are going to find leaders who are both formally educated and informally educated, right? Like, there are badasses in the world that do not have a stitch of education, formal education, who change the world. So when you say who are like my heroes, and that it's people who anyone else would say they shouldn't risk, right? Like, what does it mean to say you have voice, to not be invisible? So I'd say I was blessed in that way.
I had a great group of friends growing up who were all science and tech geeks like me. And so it was a place where there were opportunities I was able to learn. The school bought a computer, it bought its first computer. Nobody knew how to use it, so I got to go in there after school and learn how to program. But one of the big frustrations at the same time was that over time I realized that other kids of color in the district didn't have access to those same opportunities. And then over time I started to see that there were some real challenges in the district. I love solving problems through invention. And so when I think about the kind of leaders I want to support and how I want to support them, I try to encourage the inventive instinct. I try to help leaders hone their inventive instinct, think about how the invention and the people interact in ways that are going to make a difference. In addition to those ideas, I think Carmita already had an extraordinary reputation for quality and commitment to quality. All the testimonials I had heard about her from other people spoke to that. And as soon as we got the chance to talk to her about what her ideas were, and this idea about bringing the best in class of training and learning experiences in a really integrated way, I think it just made it clear that regardless of how the program was going to evolve, she was definitely a leader we wanted to support.
Yeah, I think, oftentimes we talk about we need more leaders of color. To me, it's not just about the absolute number, it's about who are these leaders of color and how are they trained, right? Because if we just get more leaders of color trained in the very traditional way, we're really not changing anything, and there's only so far mirroring can help. Yes, that's important to have a person of color that another young person becomes inspired by, but the framework and lens of how they understand their talent, their intellectual capacity, if that's not taught differently for educators, then we're reproducing inequality. I really believe that. And I think about the surge movement in general. One is all the alums understand the power that they have to make some kind of structural impact, but there are very few spaces where we allow or create opportunities for all the intersectional identities of people of color to be part of also learning content. We separate those things, which I think is ridiculous because our brain does not separate those things. But Carmita is part of a movement that I feel very much a part of, which says these things happen together. So bring your whole self to the table. So that's when I knew we were talking about elevating leaders of color in a very different way.